what we're going to do is demonstrate. First, we're going to fire the 3-pound gun. After that, we will demonstrate the loading and firing of the wall gun or rampart piece, which is this large musket behind me. And then we will demonstrate a second time the loading and firing of the cannon. So after the first shot, don't run away. There will be more.
I am ready.
Monkey, 3-pound, solid shot.
Now they're calling the runner of the powder monkey. That's actually a naval term. On ships, the gunpowder was all the way down in the lowest part of the ship in the hold, and young nimble boys or smaller sailors would have to climb down all the ladders through the hatches to the bottom, get a single round, bring that back up to the cannons. So they had to be monkeys. In our military nomenclature, it's just the runner. But I wouldn't dare to correct my state park manager.
This is the part where you might want to cover your ears, hopefully. Give! Fire!
Now that 3-pounder would have a range of about 1,200 yards, so we could probably hit your cars down in the parking lot.
Okay.
But fortunately, we're just using powder.
There are no car alarms going off.
You could probably destroy a car.
Alright, so that's a single shot, as your good Private Humble was telling you. That obviously when they're shooting at someone that's attacking the fort, they're shooting much faster. It's not as slow. They're not doing some of the steps over like we do. We're more concerned with the safety of the cannon crew than we are about shooting fast. There's no Frenchmen coming up the hill, so we're not overly concerned about that. Now, the gun we're going to demonstrate for you now is the wall gun or rampart piece. It is a 94 caliber smoothbore musket. So you can look at it as your largest form of musket or your smallest form of artillery, depending on how you want to think of it. It fires typically fires a single large projectile, almost an inch in diameter. And the whole gun was designed with the idea of shooting at the enemy's carriages they had their artillery on and breaking the axles or knocking the wheels off of it so their cannon ends up in the dirt, which is much harder to use. You ready? Firing wall gun! As you can see, it has a bit of a report on it as well. We're firing 500 grains of powder, so if you're not used to using guns, what that means is compared to the muskets we shoot during our musket demonstration, this fires a charge about 5 times greater than that. You could obviously fire it at people as well. You didn't just have to fire it at inanimate objects. However, it's a big gun. It could be loaded with smaller shot and used like a big shotgun. It was used, they used at least 2 of them during the American Revolution, and depending on whose stories you read, it was the Hessians using it against the Americans or the Americans using it against the Hessians. But whichever side was using those 2 guns disassembled a barn on top of the other. So the gun is an effective weapon to tear things apart without a doubt.
Disassemble a barn.
All right, we did all that done. We should begin. Yeah, no, that's good. We did it last time. That's why I was. But Flint's working good. You ready? Firing wall gun!
You got him!
Yep, got the Frenchman that time. Feeling better about this whole thing. All right, so the way the gun works is first we take the person with the soldier with the thumb stall. They're placing their thumb over top of the touch hole on the top of the cannon, effectively sealing off that tube so the air can't pass easily through it. We then take the worm, or the screw, which has that screw-like device on the end. You're running that down the barrel, and its claws are going to catch on anything left in that barrel from a previous shot. or in our case, the bottle or rocks. Children push down the barrels occasionally, so we know that's in there. We then, after that, will take the sponge, which is a lamb's wool sponge soaked in water, and you're running that down there because we're about to put a big giant package of powder in there, and you don't want anything left burning from a prior shot when you do that. So that's going to extinguish anything left burning in the tube. Then we call on the monkey. Here you got a bit of a description on the monkeys down here. They're going to bring up, in our case, they're going to bring up whatever size powder is called for. Now historically, this platform probably didn't have a railing on it. It definitely probably didn't have stairs. It would have had ladders. And the monkey and his box would have been up here with us. So he could service multiple guns and he could do it quickly. For safety purposes, he's down there where the powder's least likely to be affected by flame. He brings up that charge, hands it off to the man with the worm, who puts it in the gun. The man with the sponge takes the opposite side, called the rammer, and rams that cartridge home, or slides it all the way in and tamps it into the end of the barrel. The person with the thumb stall then takes their little pick, and they're going to push it through that touch hole at the top, busting open the powder inside the barrel. They then pour a musket cartridge on top to act as our fuse. We then take the lint stock, which is a burning piece of slow match, which burns really, really hot, but really, really slow. And we're going to touch that to that powder, and if everything works right, you get the big boom you heard just a few minutes ago, and you get more screaming dead Frenchmen downrange. That's ideal for us. Does anyone have any questions about that? Yes?
Well, I got a general question. What type of return fire would you be?
Well, we'd like none. we can choose.
Obviously.
Yeah, it depends on what it depends on what's attacking us, of course. As far as we know historically, the guns here were never fired what we would say in anger. They were never fired at an enemy force. In order to attack a fort that has cannons, you need cannons. Which means we talked about how hard it was for the English to just bring the guns here. If you're going to attack the fort, ideally you'd like bigger guns than they have, and you have to bring them here. And the French neither had the desire nor the cannons at the time locally to attack the fort. So, what you're going to be taking in return if you're truly attacked is they're going to be shooting at you with cannons at the same time you're shooting at them with cannons. That's typically how it works, unless they're sending just troops against you. So we do know that at least one of the cannons blew up in the fort. That's one of the questions that comes up a lot, is how fragile are the cannons. During the salute of the King's birthday in 1758, the Corporal Hill, who was in charge of the artillery at the time, fired one of the swivel guns in honor of the King's birthday. It exploded and removed half his face. He lived for 2 more days, which I'm sure were just wonderful 2 days, and then he died here at the fort. So he's one of the soldiers by name we know was buried here at the fort. Another thing never found in the archaeology was the cemetery, so he's out here somewhere. But it was not uncommon for iron guns to explode if they were poorly charged, poorly maintained, or just really old. Yes?
Are you guys actually lighting that thing?
Yes, it's really lit.
Oh.
Yes.
How do you build it?
How do we build it? Well, the wooden carriage we can build. The gun had to be made at what we call a foundry, and we don't know where these guns came from. This gun was made in America, but the original guns, we don't know if they were French, Spanish, or English. The governor of South Carolina bought them at a second-hand store in Charleston, and then had them shipped over here, and as odd as that sounds. To make it even worse is he offered to pay for what he offered the second-hand store owner for them. The government never paid, because by the time he came to collect his money, the fort had fallen, and they said, we don't own the guns anymore, so we're not responsible for them. So they didn't pay him. They also, as a result of that, the trader who brought the guns over the mountain was offered what would have been about the equivalent of a lifetime salary for a private soldier just to bring the guns over. Yeah, they reneged on that too, because they didn't own the guns anymore. So it doesn't always pay to take a note of credit. Any other questions? Yes?
Are you supposed to be shooting that?
Am I supposed to be shooting that? That sounds like you want me to shut up and do more shooting. It was very polite of you to say it like that. Yes, we are supposed to be doing more shooting. Are you ready for me to do more shooting? No. All right, man the piece.
Nobody but kids.
So on.
Sam.
One of the guns exploded and killed a guy. The only fatality in the shelling of Fort Sumter.
in training.
That building becomes bigger and bigger, and it explodes.
Search.
That's what it was.
That very first motion that we demonstrate with the corkscrew type device that we call the worm
Monkey, 3-pound, great shot.
would not actually have been part of the loading and firing procedure. We have to do it because the National Park Service and state parks require that our rounds be rolled in tinfoil. Now, in the 18th century, it would have been a linen bag full of powder that would have been completely consumed. So really, worming, if there were any remnants of burning cloth, it wouldn't have pulled it out anyway. The key procedure is that lamb's wool sponge that's been dipped in water. You want to put that down the barrel and extinguish any little burning pieces of cloth. The worm's essential for us because every single time a piece of smoldering tinfoil is left in that barrel, and we need to get that burning tinfoil out, or our rammer will lose his arm when he pushes down the next round. I don't want to forgo that procedure just because they didn't do it.
All right. Give. Fire.
Kickback.
Just a minute, I will dismiss the crew, and then you'll be welcome to either come up and take pictures, ask questions, whatever.